how to modulate to the next key, you don't seem to think about the rhythm that you're using. Like
Hmm.
it's just something that you're doing in the background, you know, right? So
Yeah.
it's like in your fingers. So like what is automatically then in your fingers just to do even just those simple rhythms.
Yeah, I'm always thinking about everything like a song. So even when I'm just demonstrating arbitrary chord progressions for you guys, I treat it like a song. So I just think, if these were the chords to a song, how would I play it? So I'm thinking about the chords themselves, but then I'm instantly tied to a genre. That's, you notice I'm always doing that. So I immediately go to that A minor and I go. So I immediately think like a CCM song. And then I immediately also then decide, well, what meter I'm going to use, how long I'm going to play each chord for. Just say I'm going to use one chord for 4 counts. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So, these are the decisions I quickly calculate in the background. What's going to be my meter? What's going to be the style? And then based on that, I know what rhythmic characteristic to attribute to that. So you always want to tie it back to something tangible. And by tangible, I mean, if it were a song, what would it be? What genre would it be? What would be the meter of this song? Which is why I always stress the importance of why you guys should spend 50% minimum of your practice time just learning songs. Just learning songs. The more songs you know, the easier it is to make anything sound musical, even when you're just playing random chord progressions. Which is when people ask me how to play talk music. I said I don't know, because talk music is literally me just making up chords, but I'm thinking about a song up here. So I go. So I'm thinking, I'm playing a ballad. And this ballad is kind of free form. It doesn't really have any specific beat. And then I even start creating sceneries in my head. It's kind of an evening sunset. Maybe I'm overlooking the ocean. Look at that nice boat passing by. I get weird with it. Like I create a whole movie in my mind. Because that's what music is. Music is art. Music is always telling a story, even when there's no lyrics involved. You're telling a story, you're painting a picture, you're creating an ambience. And the easier you get to tap into that side of you, the easier it is for you to start even determine what runs you use, when you use the run, how you use the runs. People always say, I get stuck in one register and I don't know how to use my hands. It's because you're not thinking about the whole artistic spectrum. So when I'm thinking about these things, it's like I instantly know, man, I hear a bird. And that just brings my hand up to the upper register, So that's how I think about music. It's very three-dimensional for me. I'm always thinking about an internal scenery when I'm playing. At this point, it happens so quickly that I'm not even aware that it's happening. But you have to look beyond just the chords and the melody and say, if this was a movie, what would be going on? You have it within you, trust me, it's there. You just haven't tapped into it. Think about it very musically, very artsy, theater. What's going on? Ooh, rushing winds, all those things. And my teacher is what really helped me tap into this. Because when I just started playing classical music, it never made sense to me. Playing a Bach tune, it's like it was just notes on a page for me. And she said, no. The reason your playing sound dry is because you're not thinking three-dimensional. You're just thinking about notes on a page and playing the right notes. Think beyond that. And she would literally demonstrate and she would create sceneries and I go, Because I love movies. Everybody love a good movie, right? Everybody loves a good storyline. Everybody loves a good plot. You have it here. Start creating. And the minute she explained that to me, it was a wrap. Going forward, I was able to take any piece and create my own scenery. And then my music started to come alive because I dictate what the scenery is. And the beauty about this is why I can take one song and play it 6 different ways all the time, because I just change the scenery. And then the way I play changes to match that scenery, right? So if I want to play Amazing Grace to make it sound ballad, I can make it sound ballad. You know what I mean? I can create what scenery I want from Amazing Grace. I don't always have to go traditional gospel or that. I create whatever I want. And you find that when you start thinking about music as a setting to a scene, it makes it a lot easier for you to tap into improvisation rhythmically. You know, when I want to use the upper register versus the lower registers, because you're thinking about the emotion you're trying to evoke. Is that word? Invoke? Evoke? You're thinking about an emotion that you want to tie to something that's happening all up here, right? Now you start to see the importance of why we have to get away from what chord am I playing? Am I playing the right chord? Because if your brain's occupied about that, you can't think about the scenery you're trying to create. You can't think about the story you're trying to tell through what you're playing, because your mental process is caught up with, I don't know what chord comes next and what inversion to use. And the only way we can get free from that is to just practice that stuff till we get it good enough to where we don't have to think about it. It's the same reason why I can sing and play, because I can split my mental process to think about my voice and the lyrics while also thinking about the chords. But it wasn't always like that. There was a time where I couldn't think about anything else but my eyes looking at the keyboard and figuring out what chord comes next. But through practice, I get to the point where I could then free up some of my mental process to focus on that thing. So that's the upper echelon of where music really starts to come alive for you. Once you start thinking about everything you play as just a backdrop to a scenery that's happening all in your own mind. And the beauty about it, once you start to do that, your audience, whatever that is, start to also feel it. So when I'm in church, that's why good church musicians can move the church through different aspects of worship, through the playing, because you're helping to set the scenery and the ambience. And when you have a pastor and a musician who are linked, like psychically, they blow the roof off the church. But you can only get there when you allow yourself to get there. And you get there by just putting in the work and the practice, you know. And then you can create the scenery that you want.